Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we are going to be talking about Venus Lux's interview with Sonya. You might know her from her previous work as Sam Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
But it's way more than just a name change, though.
Yeah.
This is like a whole new chapter of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Sonya was actually a fan of Venus's before she transitioned, even baked her cupcakes for her 22nd birthday.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So she was drawn to like Venus's openness and authenticity before she like fully embraced her own.
Yeah, I totally see that.
Right. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So today, let's just dive deep into Sonya's story, her coming out, her transition, how all of this has like impacted both her creative work and her relationships.
Sounds good.
Let's just start by like unpacking Sonya's life before her transition.
Okay, so to really understand this period, it wasn't simply about switching names. It was about merging these two distinct identities that she had kept separate. She had a successful career as Sam Saturday cartoonist, playwright, podcaster.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Mm.
It sounds like Sam Saturday was almost a character she created.
Yeah.
I mean, I get using a pen name, but to keep your given name just for family, that's a pretty stark division.
Exactly. It wasn't just a pen name. It was a container for a specific part of herself.
Huh?
She even mentioned in the interview that Sam Saturday was for all of her, like, weird, quirky, possibly adult-focused stuff.
Okay.
While her given name was for personal and family interactions.
Also, like total separation.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of tension in that compartmentalization.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then at 35, she decides to transition.
Right.
She even described herself as a late bloomer,
Interesting.
having also come out as bisexual at 28.
Okay.
Have you noticed a pattern in her story of kind of waiting for the right moment to fully step into herself?
Absolutely. I think it speaks to a process that many people go through, taking the time to, like, fully understand and accept yourself.
Yeah.
Before you share that with the world.
Totally.
And it takes even more courage to do that later in life.
Right.
When you've already built a life around certain expectations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of expectations, I'm curious about how her family has been reacting to this.
Oh, yeah.
She mentioned it's a work in progress.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's very fresh. She came out to her family just a few days before the interview.
Wow.
While her friends have been incredibly supportive,
Oh, that's good.
her family's reaction is more muted,
Yeah.
which unfortunately isn't uncommon for LGBTQ plus individuals.
Okay.
She did mention that her mom has been trying to be supportive,
That's good.
even taking her clothes shopping.
Okay, hold on. I have to jump in here.
Yeah.
This whole clothes shopping thing really stood out to me.
Really?
It wasn't their first shopping trip together,
Okay.
but Sonya emphasized how different it felt this time.
That's interesting.
Yep.
It's fascinating. It wasn't just about buying clothes.
Right.
Sonya even mentioned how much she hated polo shirts. It seems like it was more about her mom trying to understand and connect with Sonya's authentic self, like a way of rebuilding their relationship in this new context.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
It's like the clothes were just the surface,
Right.
but underneath, there's this deeper shift happening in their dynamic.
For sure.
And I love how even when her mom was worried about potential negativity in the fitting room, Sonya was totally unfazed.
That's great.
Yeah.
It shows a real shift in their dynamic.
Yeah.
Sonya is moving through the world with a newfound sense of agency and confidence.
Totally.
And her mom is trying to adjust to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we see this newfound confidence playing out in her family life.
Right.
But what about romantically?
Yeah, good question.
Sonya chose to pause dating, to focus on herself during her transition,
Interesting.
which I think is incredibly insightful. Her philosophy was, when you're happy with yourself, things fall into place.
I like that.
That really resonated with me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
While prioritizing self-discovery is important,
Right.
I wonder if delaying romantic connection entirely
Yeah.
could also be a way of avoiding potential rejection
Oh.
or judgment during a vulnerable time.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Wanting to solidify her own sense of self before adding the complexities of a relationship.
Totally.
She did mention she's open to dating mostly women,
Okay.
but not ruling anything out.
Gotcha.
It's ultimately her journey to navigate.
Right.
And it sounds like she's approaching it with a healthy dose of self-awareness.
Definitely.
Okay, let's move on to something a little lighter.
Okay.
Sonya's creative work.
All right.
What really surprised me is that she doesn't talk about having new goals.
Girl.
but rather a renewed passion for her existing work.
Huh.
It makes you wonder if before her creative energy was being stifled by the need to compartmentalize her identity.
Oh, interesting.
Now, with that barrier gone, it seems like there's a newfound freedom and passion in her work.
I see that.
It makes me think about her comics and writing. How might her style be changing now?
Yeah.
And on a lighter note, she mentioned working on a satirical adult coloring book.
Oh, wow.
I'm already intrigued.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does pique the curiosity, doesn't it?
it really does.
It's a reminder that even as she goes through this major life transition, she's still holding on to her sense of humor and playfulness.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like she's rediscovering the joy in the work she was already doing.
Yeah.
And speaking of rediscovering joy, it sounds like her friendships have also been positively impacted.
Absolutely. She mentioned that her friends have been incredibly supportive, maybe even more excited for her now.
Really?
Yeah, it makes you think about how before she used to keep her Sam Saturday persona separate from her personal relationships.
No, so like a total wall.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must be so liberating to finally bring all those different parts of herself together, no more compartmentalizing.
Totally.
And that makes me wonder, do you think this merging of identities will change the kinds of friendships she forms moving forward?
It's possible by embracing her wholeness. She's not just changing how she interacts with existing friends,
Right.
but also how she presents herself to the world.
Yeah.
It could open up space for deeper, more authentic connections with people who appreciate her for all that she is.
That's a really interesting point. It's not just about the people she already knows, but also about attracting new people into her life who align with this new chapter.
Exactly.
And that brings us back to her family, who, as we discussed, are still processing everything.
Yeah.
It seems like the relationship with her mom is particularly significant right now. Did she talk about any other family members' reactions?
She didn't go into much detail about others, but I think the focus on her mom is telling that relationship seems to be the one undergoing the most significant shift.
Okay.
It's a reminder that these journeys impact everyone in the family differently.
It makes me think about listeners out there who might be going through something similar. Have you ever had to navigate a major life change with your family, and how did those conversations go?
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely uncharted territory for everyone involved.
It can be incredibly challenging. There's a process of unlearning old patterns and rebuilding connections based on understanding and acceptance.
Totally.
And that requires patience and compassion from all sides.
And sometimes those closest to us take a little longer to catch up. It's about meeting people where they are and allowing them the space to process and adapt at their own pace.
Precisely. It's a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
And for Sonya, it seems like this journey is deeply intertwined with her creative expression. Remember how she mentioned feeling more confident to put her work out there now?
Yes, I found that incredibly powerful. It made me think about my own life. What parts of myself am I holding back, and how might that be impacting my own creative potential? It's like when we hide aspects of ourselves, we're also limiting our own expression.
It's a profound question, and I think it applies to more than just creativity.
Oh, wow.
When we embrace our true selves, it can positively impact all areas of our lives.
Right.
Our relationships, our careers, even how we move through the world.
So it's not just about self-acceptance, but about unlocking our full potential in every aspect of our lives.
That's right.
Sonya is definitely showing us how that's done.
For sure.
She mentioned a few exciting projects she's working on, that satirical adult coloring book, for example. Did you say anything more about that?
Unfortunately, she kept the details under wraps, but she did mention sharing some of the artwork online. It seems like she's really enjoying the process of creating something that's both funny and thought-provoking.
That definitely piques my interest. And what about that show she's developing for Trans Global Magazine? Did she give any hints about what it's about?
She was pretty tight-lipped, but you could hear the excitement in her voice. It sounds like a project that's really close to her heart.
You can just sense the passion. It seems like her transition has really ignited a new spark in her creative career, which is incredibly inspiring. And it's a good reminder that even when we think we know our path, life can surprise us with unexpected turns and opportunities.
It's about staying open to new possibilities and trusting the journey even when it takes us in directions we didn't anticipate.
I love that, but let's not forget about her other creative passions, the comics and writing. Did she talk about those at all?
She did, and what's interesting is that she doesn't see her transition as a catalyst for new creative goals, but rather as a source of renewed energy for her existing passions.
So it's not about reinvention, but about rediscovering the joy and purpose in what she was already doing.
Exactly. It speaks to the idea that authenticity doesn't require us to abandon our past selves,
Right.
but rather to integrate them into a more whole and vibrant present.
It's like taking everything we've learned and experienced and pouring it into our creative endeavors with a newfound sense of clarity and purpose.
And that's where true creative magic happens.
But it's not just Sonia's creative life that's been impacted by her transition. She also talked about the changes in her relationships with her friends. It sounds like they've been incredibly supportive, even more excited for her now.
It's a heartwarming testament to the power of true friendship, to embrace and celebrate our authentic selves, and it speaks to the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who support and encourage our growth.
Absolutely. True friends are those who walk beside us through every chapter of our lives, offering love and acceptance, even when we're still figuring things out. And sometimes those friendships become even stronger as we become more fully ourselves.
Precisely, authenticity breeds connection. When we show up as our true selves, we invite others to do the same, which can lead to deeper and more meaningful relationships.
And that's such a beautiful thing. But I'm curious, did Sonia talk about any challenges she faced in her friendships as she transitioned?
She didn't go into detail about specific challenges, but she did mention that before her transition, she used to compartmentalize her life, keeping her Sam Saturday persona separate from her personal relationships.
Ah, so there was a level of separation and perhaps even a fear of judgment that existed before.
It's a common experience, unfortunately, especially for individuals who feel pressure to conform to societal expectations.
And it highlights the importance of creating safe and accepting spaces where people can be their full selves without fear of rejection.
Absolutely. When we create those spaces, we allow for genuine connection and support to flourish.
And that's what true community is all about, right?
Mm.
Embracing diversity and celebrating our differences. Sonia's story is such a powerful example of what can happen when we choose to live authentically.
For sure. It's a reminder that even in the midst of a huge personal transformation, we don't have to go through it alone. So what does all this mean for you? What can we take away from Sonia's experience?
Well, for me, it's a testament to the courage it takes to embrace your true self, even if it means challenging expectations,
Yeah.
especially later in life. It's never too late to start that journey of self-discovery.
It's also a reminder that everyone's journey is unique.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to transition, and it's a process.
Yeah.
So being patient and compassionate with yourself and with others is crucial.
Sonia's pure joy about being able to finally express herself authentically through her clothing was so powerful. It makes you think about how much we use our outward appearance to reflect who we feel we are on the inside.
It's about finding ways to align our outer world with our inner truth,
Totally.
to create a sense of harmony. And even though things were a bit awkward at first, with
Yeah.
her mom taking our clothes shopping,
Right.
their story shows that relationships can evolve and deepen
Yeah.
as we all navigate these changes together.
It highlights how important open communication and a willingness to adapt are, and Sonia's renewed passion and confidence in her creative work really drive home the idea that authenticity can be an amazing catalyst for creativity.
Absolutely. When we embrace who we truly are, we unlock so much inspiration and potential.
It seems like living authentically can have this ripple effect, touching not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. Sonia's story really inspires me to embrace my true self. What about you?
It's a powerful reminder to examine the parts of ourselves that we might be holding back and
Yeah.
how that might be affecting us. It's a great prompt to examine our own creative potential.
It makes you wonder what could be possible if we all embraced our true selves. What new levels of creativity, connection, and even joy could we unlock? Sonia's journey is so inspiring. If you're interested in learning more about her and following her story, be sure to check out her work. She's still using her old Twitter handle at @𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗧𝗔𝗡, but keep an eye out for her new accounts. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.